this is the end of the Dead Deli season. It's Purge week. So, at any time, anybody outside of the normal rules can engage in combat and whatnot, and this is what we came up with. We came late, so while our dinosaur lines are not as good, I like to think that our base strategy is sound. So the outside walls are 2 layers thick, rather than using behemoth gates to surround, which can be broken by a roll rat. Pretty much instantaneously, a whole line of behemoth gates can go up in smoke just by running a roll rat through them. Roll rats are, of course, these guys here. The saddles, they are the only saddles with durability. And as you use the roll, the durability goes down, yada yada yada. So, on with the base tour. Alright, so we're gonna go outside. As you can see, I use the chandelier method as it makes it harder for an attacking tribe to have a focal point. Breaking down a wall, yeah, it would be bad because, you can come right in. However, in this instance, the only thing you really have to worry about is the bad guys having enough time to soak bullets, but with the turrets slot capped, the 3-hour time limit, which is part of the normal rules for PvP. Generally speaking, it's not possible to soak the heavy turrets in that amount of time. So, as you can see, we didn't bother with behemoth gates because, as I said, they get destroyed way too easy. Floor to ceiling, this spot in particular is not overly hard to raid in and of itself. The weakest point is definitely the door. There's really no point in double layering it. The doors are always the weakest point in a base build. Now, the walls are double thick, which I will show once we get back inside. As you can see, these spikes up here are a deterrent. Obviously, nothing is impenetrable. The spikes make it a little bit harder, give us a little more time. That way if somebody calls a raid or starts jousting around, we have time to gear up and head outside to defend them. Should the defense outside fall, as you can see, we use foundations around the outside as opposed to fence posts or something else. So the interesting thing with S+ is any one of these can be, as you can see, picked up and the rest of the wall will not fall. So the amount of resources needed to break in is quite a bit. The increased gathering rates make it so it's not such a problem as far as resources go, but even still, you want to make them waste more resources than they get. So that was the idea. Put this back. We are on aberration, so base defense. As you can see, we have some dinos down here. Most of the ones closest to the door, if they die, doesn't really matter. They're gathering dinos. The megas are the huge factor in the base defense. They are essentially aberrations, T-Rexes. On aberration, megalosauruses will not sleep. They don't have to sleep for like they do on other maps. So, good high ceilings, visibility for the turrets all the way around. So this is the bottom floor. And one of the biggest pieces of defense we have is actually right here, believe it or not. So the staircase to the upper floor is the only way to get up there without climbing picks or rock drake. Um, and while, yes, on the outside it is easy to blow in, most of our crafting stuff is on the second floor, up and away from the bottom floor. So somebody blows in the bottom floor, essentially all we have to do is remove the lower part of the staircase, and once the bottom is lost, then they still have to get past the heavy turret chandelier, and then they have to make it up here, where they again have to go through a chandelier. Now, everything as far as our main crafting areas, yes, we have vaults that line the outside, makes it harder for people to get in. We're lazy. And like I said, we came in at the end of the season, so normally I would vault drop the entire inside, but like I said, we're lazy, didn't have a lot of time, and this is our crafting area. Everything we need to repair walls, repair floors, armor, weapons, ammo, all that good stuff. Yes, the tech replicator is here. Is not usually a good idea to keep it full of stuff, but that's why we have vaults right next to it, so we can empty it, pick it up, and not have to worry about it getting blown up. Put it up into upload. So everything we could possibly need is up here for crafting. Another staircase, another point of defense, as all we have to do is, again, remove a section of it, and then they have to work their way through the chandelier, and again, find their way up to another floor. Now, this floor is purposefully left empty, as this is the last line of defense before we start getting into some of the good areas. I'm not going to do a walkthrough of the rooms, but this room is double chandeliered. One on top, one below. And there's no staircase that comes up here. We have the tech elevators. We have various things around the base, like sleeping bags and whatnot, that will allow us to transfer our characters up here in the event that we need to re-gear and whatnot. So, ideally, this particular build is to section and keep things from going sideways and keep our stuff safe. This is where the personal rooms are, even though we don't really use them. They're actually quite empty because, again, we started late in the season, so we didn't really bother filling these up. We have an armory in one of the hardest to get to locations. And that armory is chock full with weapons and whatnot. There's been a lot of questions from people on the server and even tribe mates about stats. This particular character build is my crafting character build. As you can see, 1070, and that's not even the highest you can go. 460 weight, 200 health are not necessary for a crafting character, but since I do a little bit of everything and I pretty much have no life, I need to be able to do stuff. So, need more than 100 health and need to be able to carry stuff too. Now, the other thing, since we are on Aberration, the Z plants that are scattered all throughout the base are a huge help. Reapers notwithstanding, most of the dinos are pretty straightforward when it comes to attacking a base. And I say Reapers notwithstanding because there's all kinds of things you can do with the Reapers, particularly because their spin attack has knockback. And it's a pretty significant knockback as well. So, this is the crafting area. Um, this area over here used to have 160 crop plots, 10 crop plots high, 4 rows deep, of each one of the fruits, vegetables. Don't bother with... Some people like to plant narco berries and stuff, but all you need here really is a crab and a good stego, and you'll be able to slot cap the stego with whatever kind of berries you need, so don't bother with those. Now, by the time you guys get to watching this, the base probably will not be here. We are hoping to survive the Purge Week, while doing a little bit of destruction ourselves, but we'll see what happens. Never know. A lot of creative people, a lot of people who are good at PvP. And yes, under normal circumstances, this would be exceedingly hard to raid. 3 hours, particularly with the way the rules are set up. No turrets outside of walls and all that good stuff. Doing a base that is slot capped as far as turret capacity goes in under 3 hours is nigh on impossible later on. Now, the good thing about having a base that is so high is that we have 2 different turret number locations. So the one in the middle, we'll say 50 for now. So 50 in the middle, we can do 50 on the bottom, and then another 50 on the very top. So it lets us get not get around the turret capacity. It gives us enough space, and the turrets are far enough apart that we don't have to worry as much about the turret capacity as if we had a smaller base. Ideally, a base this size would house at least 10 tribe members. The tribe cap is 6 currently on the Dead Deli server. As you can see, everything is nice and high, so moving dinos around, taking full use of the rock drakes and their abilities during a raid is something that we can count on. And like I was saying, the S Plus gives you particular freedom to build. I mean, as you can see, this would be this particular portion here, which is, it's not huge, but you know, you remove the ramps and then it's harder to get up here. So you can really section off the fight. We chose this location because we were near materials. It's kind of out of the way. There's really only 2 people that are even really close to us. There's one out that side, and then another one out that side. These are our little Reaper pens. So, you'll notice one of the things that's missing is the plant species X plants. A couple patches ago, Ark made it so that even putting a hatch frame over the X plant, you can still hit the X plant with a dino. So there's not really, unless you're outside with a smaller base, X plants I would say are a pretty early game thing if you use them at all. The fact that all you have to do is remove the fertilizer and they're useless. It's something that is not really worth the time, particularly considering the fire arrows that you can use to destroy them. So yeah. And this crafting area is specifically designed so that anything on the outer wall, if we lose it, we don't care. We'll just build another one. We could lose all 6, 7 of these industrial forges. We have backup forges just in case. That way, if we have to build more, all we gotta do is put up whatever, ones that we have extra. These charging stations have been really effective. You wouldn't think so, but aberration, you lose light pets all the time, so just keep a good conglomeration of light pets and your charging stations will be completely full, so that way when you go out to do element, you don't have to worry about charging as you go, because that takes a while. Obviously the fridges. So there are 6 of us as opposed to 10, which can make things problematic. Particularly if a couple of tribes gang up and work together. As you're building, look at it from the point of view of a raider. Know your weak points. Know, alright, so like, we finished here. What are the weak points? I know what the weak points are here. I know how I would rate this. And so what you're gonna do, ideally, is your base should be ever evolving. If you get raided, don't get mad at somebody for raiding you. As a matter of fact, thank them, because they're going to show you the weak points. Thank you for watching our base walkthrough. Like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time.